Hi, I am author S.C. Vincent, writer of several science fiction, fantasy, and horror books. You can find me on Amazon.com. If you just type in S.C. Vincent, you'll see several great books, such as The Sakura Element, East the Fallen, and The Arcadian Destiny. And you can even find some of my short stories where I've been published. If you just type in my name, go to my books, check them out. Leave a review, share them with your friends. I would greatly appreciate it, and enjoy the video. Alright, guys, so I am author S.C. Vincent, and today we are going over my anime collection. We are going over shelf number, I think, 7, and it is letters K through M. So we're going to go down from Waluigi to the next shelf. So we have the second set of Kaleido Star here. This completes the series. I have not watched it yet. Like I said in the previous video, it's supposed to be pretty good. Then I have Kids on the Slope. This was directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, who did Cowboy Bebop. This is a pretty good show. I think it's just 12 episodes, and he's only done a few shows after Cowboy Bebop, and I think most of them haven't been that great, but I think this was one of the good ones. And I think he's coming out with a new show, and I think right now it seems to look pretty good, so we'll see. I might check it out. This is Kingslave, Final Fantasy, is it 16? This is not really a traditional anime. It's a CG anime for a video game, which I have not played. I think I actually did try to play Final Fantasy 16, and I didn't really like it. But I have this movie. It kind of fell into my lap, and I'll probably never watch it. But as long as I have it, I'll keep it here. And if it lets me put it back. This is the original Kino's Journey. There was I think another series made, which I don't have, and I would like to have it, but I think it's super expensive. This is the original ADV Films release, not the Sentai Filmworks. ADV was what Sentai Filmworks used to be. Kino's Journey is kind of a episodic story, from what I remember. Pardon if I'm clearing my throat a lot. I did just finish eating some dinner. I remember liking the show. It's pretty good. It has good animation. I don't remember too much about it because you have to understand I watched some of these shows a long time ago. But I remember enjoying it. And then this is a show that was recently released, although it's kind of an old show. Discotek released this. It took them a little bit to release both sets, but this is Kodacha. I think it's a love story, more or less, between I think it's a shoujo show, and the love story is kind of about I think they're middle schoolers, so it's kind of a kid's story. 11-year-old is a famous child actress with a hit TV show, and maybe energy to power a city, but her school life isn't going well. So, she meets a boy probably, and maybe they don't get along originally or something. You know how these things go. I bought this, I think, because, I like sweet little stories, especially love stories. I really like shoujo stories. They tend to work out, they tend to be pretty interesting and fun to watch. They're not like, for some reason, if I was to see something like this in the West, I wouldn't appreciate it as much. I wouldn't watch it. It wouldn't be for me. But for some reason, if it's anime, I tend to like it. Then we have just a classic series here. One of my favorites. See if I can pronounce it correctly. Kimagure Orange Road. Discotek released these.
So they released the complete TV series collection. Um, it is it's a really good show. It's a classic show, though you can kind of tell the art. If it's a love triangle, but the main character kind of has psychic powers, and it gets into a lot of trouble. But it's a pretty deep show, all things considered, especially compared to the other kind of manga at the time. Were pretty much, especially after that, were pretty shallow in some ways. This one has I know some deeper meanings to it, some little more complex stories, which I really appreciated. Uh, put the set back in, and this set has the OVA series and movie. Um, I want to return to that day. I actually really dislike I want to return to that day. I think it's kind of a so there's two movies actually, and Discotheque only had access to the original series, the OVAs, and the first movie. They didn't have access to release the second movie, which really makes up for the kind of ending that the anime had and the first movie had. I think the anime wasn't perfect in my opinion. There was one character who was a love interest for one of the characters, and he kind of just was more of an anime original. I think he didn't really get a proper send off in any aspect throughout the entirety of the animated show. But they did do another movie, um, Kamagure Orange Road, Summer's Beginning, and this one really makes up for the previous movie's kind of bitter ending. This one has a much happier ending. It's really a really good movie. I was left for the most part happy at the end of this one. And so yeah, Kamagure Orange Road is really a classic show. You really have to have it in your collection. Then there is, I can't say this. I don't know how to pronounce that. Kiyosugiga. But I have not watched this one yet. It's supposed to be good, but I haven't watched it. Um, so we'll see eventually. As you can tell, this this one's pretty tight. So there's a lot of discs, cases. We're just gonna put that away here, actually. So next is Last Exile. This was one of the few good shows released by Gonzo, and I've spoken about Gonzo before. Um, I think they're even still around in some way, but Gonzo was known for, they've had their first couple of releases were decent, but afterwards, they just continuously made a bunch of stinkers and lost a bunch of money, and they were like, I don't know, had a lot of legal issues. But Last Exile is probably one of their more notable ones. They even managed to make a sequel to it, which I heard wasn't that good, so I'm not going to bother with that. But I'll watch this one eventually. I haven't had a chance. I think I got that one as a gift, actually. And then here is the original Discotheque release of Lovely Complex. It's a high school shoujo or love story between a tall girl and a short boy, which is the complex between because most trying to keep my hand steady because most stories in most situations the boy is taller and the girl is shorter, but of course that's the complex between the story and everything. So I thought this one's really good. I would definitely check it out. But I would say check out this set. Do not get the new release that Discotheque did because they completely butchered it. They changed the subtitles with like some sort of political or whatever, and they had the dub. They did a dub too, and the dub's not that great either. So I would just say avoid it. Let me switch hands here, and now we're getting into my Lupin set. I have about the entirety of the Lupin TV series. So what I'm really missing is the Lupin OVAs, Lupin specials, and all the Lupin movies. So that will be the majority of my collecting for Lupin in the future. So here I have the DVD of The Mystery of Mamo. Haven't watched it yet. And this is another Miyazaki movie that wasn't in the set but down in the previous shelf. But I have it up here with the other Lupin collection. It's the Castle of Cagliostro. This is, of course, like a great movie. Definitely, you should have that in your collection. Then I have Lupin, The Legend of the Gold of Babylon. Haven't watched it yet. This is Lupin Part 1, the original series, which was done by Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyamoto. Hayao Miyazaki, sorry. Which is good. Then there's, I think I'm missing one set of the Red Jacket, which is part 2, because it's actually on my shelf, because I've been watching it on my shelf near my Blu-ray player. So there should actually be another one right here. But I have them out like that way. Yeah, so I have all of the Red Jacket, and then here is all of Part 3. Discotheque put out all these sets. And then here is Part 4. And one thing I disliked how they did was that they released Part 4 separate in 2 different types of sets, which meant that you got, depending on like the set you got, it was, I forget what it was, but one set had maybe an episode or 2 that the other set didn't have, and it was for some, I think, rights issue. So you, in order to get all the episodes in Part 4, you had to buy both versions, which is not something I did. And then here is Part 5. I don't think I've watched this one yet. And here is Part 6. I have not watched yet either. So, really, I'm still working on Red Jacket, watching Red Jacket. I've watched All Green. And I've watched Part 4. I watched that one when it first came out. That was good. And then we have, let's see here. Lupin, Bye Bye Lady Liberty. Lupin, the Hemingway Papers. And Lupin, Sweet Lost Night. Now, some of these I get because you'll see that some are DVD, some are Blu-ray. I've arranged them so I think this one's the movie, and I think over here I have specials and OVAs collections, and in between I have TV collections or something like that. And you might say, why aren't you getting them in order or whatever? It's because, well, Discotheque will release them, but then they'll be the license will expire, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe the cheapest way to get it is DVD, or that's the only way. You'll get an older release. It's whatever. You know, more or less, all of Lupin's been released. It's just a matter of getting them affordably. And then there's the Lupin Fujiko Mine series, which I hated. There's a whole subsection of Lupin where it's more darker and gritty. Like, there's a whole movie section where Lupin wears more of like a black shirt. I actually really dislike that type of Lupin. I think I enjoy the more funny or the more goofy or lighthearted Lupin stuff. I really dislike this one. But that's enough of Lupin. So we're gonna move on to my So last time I made a previous video about this series, and I mispronounced it, and someone in the comment section wanted me to pronounce it correctly. So it's Macross. So Macross. I was saying it in the wrong way. So this is the um, prequel to Macross. It is Macross Zero. This is the Blu-ray collection, Blu-ray box premium remaster collection. This was, I think, the European release, or is it? I think so. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that it actually did cost a pretty penny. Macross is getting a bunch of releases now that Big West is being a little bit more relaxed. Um, for this one, they used a little bit of AI to use the to update it to HD. That's what I heard, but I haven't watched it yet. But I'm buying all of the Macross stuff. So there's a crowdfund for Macross, not I think Macross 2, which I have that. So I'll be getting that sometime maybe next year when it releases. And this is the set that I made a video about. Macross Plus. They released it in this giant collection. And I did my review on it. And this is supposed to be a really good show, and this one is actually not that supposed to be that great, but it's supposed to be decent, but it's not the best. The Macross Plus is supposed to be really good. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And then I have to say, so we're gonna get to here, Made in Abyss. So I did watch this show. I was putting it off for a long time because I heard some things about it. But I eventually watched it. I watched the entire series, the first series. And there are some good aspects of the story, but I will have to say I will not be watching any more of this show because it's kind of gross, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'll probably just pass on that if I was, someone else. Then I have 3 centimeters per second. This is where I have a collection of these 2 directors. Let's see if I can get a good. My camera's terrible. Makoto Shinkai. I have him, and I have a few of his movies here. Your Name. The Garden of Words. And then I have the collection of, this camera's terrible. Mamoru Hosoda, start his collection here. Summer Wars. I've seen some of these movies, Wolf Children, Bell. So what I've seen is, let's see here. I actually haven't seen any of these movies. I saw The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It's a very good movie. I saw Summer Wars. Very good movie. I haven't seen these 2. But they're all supposed to be great, so I'm just collecting all these directors' movies, and I think my voice is starting to give out. And here we have the DVD releases of Marmalade Boy, another kind of shoujo romance series, which I have not watched yet, but it's probably, I don't know if I'll like it or not, but it seems to be the type of show that I would like. It's supposed to get decent reviews. I don't know much about the plot, of course. Most of these shows have similar plots. There's like a love story. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Okay, there you go. Is it focused? Seems like a pretty good show to me. Now this one I tried watching, Megalobox. I tried watching this one. I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes. I really didn't like it. Apparently it's like some sort of reboot of Ashito no Joe, or I forget how you pronounce. I forget what the English version, if I'm saying that right. It's supposed to be some reboot of that, but I'd rather just watch the original. This one's kind of uninteresting, to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of boring. Then there is Nadesico, Martian's successor, Nadesico. This is supposed to be a good show too. I haven't watched it yet. I know that's like most of the things that you haven't watched them. You haven't watched them. Yeah, I don't have the time to watch everything. This is Mega Zone 23. It's supposed to be another classic, great show. Haven't watched it yet. And then we start the original, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Now, this was a huge kind of meme show, very popular when it first came out in the 2000s. And um, it was like one of those shows that was like huge when it first came out, but it did not have the payoff that it needed to have. Like, they made a sequel series which had like the endless eight, terrible production, terrible animation. Then they made a movie, and I don't think they even finished the anime or the stories. So it's kind of, I would not recommend that. So we're gonna start from the right all the way again, like we always do. I'm gonna go through it. Uh, Probably recommend, pass, recommend, recommend, recommend all of Lupin, except for that one because I don't like it. Recommend Macross plus. Uh, don't recommend Made in Abyss. Recommend. Yes. Don't bother. I mean, maybe for historical kind of reasons, you might want to see what it's like, but I wouldn't put money on it. All right, so that's shelf number 7. Those are letters K through M, and we have a few more to go because remember we have an entire third bookshelf to go through. So if you could please check the link in the description below and check out my books because that's what keeps me going is writing novels, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you for watching.